Thank you, Ambassador, sir, for speaking to All India Radio. My first question to you, sir, is that Germany has been very forthcoming in its support to India during this hour of crisis of the COVID-19 pandemic. Could you shed some light on what kind of support that Germany has extended to India so far?
Shubtin Pavanchi Apsisuka Achalaga. It's good to talk to you and to see and to hear you. Yes, we have quite a lot of aid coming up or already here in the country, starting with government to government donations, which is of course the medicine, remdesivir, 55,000 packages, I guess. And then the German army brought in already 120 ventilators, which are already distributed to 3 different hospitals here in Delhi and outside Delhi. Then we have a mobile oxygen generation plant, quite a big one, which was flown in. And then we have other things which are related to our development cooperation, like cooperation with UNICEF, huge refrigerators where you can store vaccines, so to keep the vaccine chain cool. And then other projects, other things like universal health coverage, training laboratory personnel, and setting up devices in sequencing in laboratories. So these are things which are already here or set up government to government. Then we have German industry and associations which bring relief, which is, for example, the cooperation of FICI and German Association of Entrepreneurs. They brought in 1,500 oxygen concentrators already here in the country. Then the Indian Army airlifted 4 tanks from German companies or 23 mobile oxygen generations. Then we have German companies in India which do a lot of relief work, from Daimler to Bosch to others. And then we have donations and logistics, the Lufthansa, DHL, Schenker. So there's quite a lot in the pipeline or already here in the country, which would be too long to enumerate now.
Sir, you mentioned the oxygen plant that Germany is delivering to India. Now, what is the status of the 4 lakh liter oxygen generation plant that is being set up here in Delhi, sir?
Well, it's quite a huge oxygen producing plant. So we needed 2 big air transporters, A400M Airbuses from the German military, which brought in the first part last Thursday and then last Friday, the second part. And during the weekend, they were 24/7 setting this up. And today I visited it already. And so they did the test runs. And so by tomorrow, they will be instructing and teaching the Indian side to maneuver it, because it will be then in the hands of the Indian Army. And then I'm hopeful that we in 2 days' time, so Wednesday, it will be operational, and then we can already start working and saving lives. So this is where it stands. It was a very great cooperation between the 2 militaries, and so it was a good example of how to do things fastly, quickly, and efficiently, I think. So thanks to all the Indian partners who helped us.
The help from Germany is much appreciated in all across the country. Now, sir, moving on from here, what are the future plans for support to India in terms of overcoming this COVID-19 crisis?
Well, as I said, I mean, we have already a lot of in the pipeline, which I enumerated already, but in addition to this, cooperation of laboratories to sequence this mutant of the virus, but also medicine if required, and anything which is required by the Indian government and which they will let us know, we will try to help, and as fast as we did the first batch.
So back home in Germany, what is the situation regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, sir? How has the vaccination unfolded, and how is the country coping with this pandemic, and what has the country been able to achieve?
Yeah, of course we are a smaller country than India, so we have smaller numbers of death and smaller numbers of infected people, and we have had in Europe a 3rd wave of the virus. And it seems like we have broken this wave, and we are now on a good course to get down of the numbers. Our weekly incidence rate is a little bit above 100 now, which means we can lift some of the restrictions, some of the curfews or the lockdowns and these kind of things. So people now enjoy a few of these freedoms already. But as you say, nothing is excluded that there might be a fourth wave, or in India a third wave. So this is a very unpredictable virus, and of course we have to be on the lookout of mutants like we have in South Africa, we have in Brazil and in India, to see whether those are able to escape the vaccines. We have rolled out a vaccine campaign, and I guess at the moment we have like 30% of the population is vaccinated. Second, at least first vaccination, which is pretty good, but of course it also takes time. But I think we are at the moment, but keep fingers crossed, on a way of smoothing out of the worst. But I want to be very careful because other nations have said the same, and then there was a next wave and then a next wave. So we have to be prudent and still keep up the measures.
So, zooming out a little bit from Indo-German cooperation during the COVID pandemic, sir, to the partnership in general across various sectors, what do you think are the prospects for Indo-German cooperation in the future?
You see, we have a very long-standing partnership with India. We are strategic partners, and we are very close in many aspects. Biggest trade partner in Europe, and the biggest number of Indian students are in Germany. Not in the UK, one would think because of English speaking, but in Germany because it's free and it's a good education system, I guess. So there are quite a lot of cooperation possibilities, and which we do already. So there's the civil societies, the cultural aspects, the language learning, and we have the development cooperation, scientific researchers. So there's a broad bandwidth of cooperation, and we will put forward that. But at the moment, of course, it's most important to get those people out of the emergency wards and save as many lives as possible. So this is the main focus. But apart from that, there is a broad cooperation.
Prime Minister Modi recently attended the India-EU summit. Now, what are your thoughts on the prospects of India-EU cooperation going ahead, sir?
Well, we were very happy that after 7 years of pause, we had a rearm of the talks, and so I think that was a very good decision there, that we now will talk about a new agreement and also investment protection agreement. So now let's hope that this spirit of this digital meeting will also prevail now for the future, because now we need the talks and gets down now to the negotiations. And I think if we approach it on both sides with this spirit of cooperation, I think we should achieve something, because these are the world's two biggest democracies. It's India with 1.3 billion, and it's the European Union with 500 million. So this is a natural cooperation between two friendly parts of the world. So I think we should use this chance to really make progress.
And before we end, sir, what message do you have for Indians during these testing times?
I think what we all need is a message of hope that there is some light at the end of the tunnel, because 15 months of sitting at home and having relatives and friends being in the intensive care, it's really have an impact on every one of us. Now, I think the hope would be that you have seen how many friends India has when it comes to asking for help. People and countries are reacting and are pouring in help. And with vaccination going further on, and maybe we can, get out of the worst. And maybe if indications are right, maybe some peak has been reached. Let's hope that this is a peak, and from now on it gets a bit better. But it still needs a cooperation of all of our side. But I would say, let's be optimistic, because if we don't share this optimism, then we have an even more difficult time. Let's think of all the frontline workers who help us and all the friends India has, and I think then we can pull through this together.
Thank you, Ambassador, sir. We certainly hope that the worst is behind us. Thank you so much for speaking to All India Radio.
Dhanyavad and 4 million.